So Joe, how are you feeling after Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, clean sheet's always nice. Back-to-back home wins was good. So yeah, look, we've got a number of injuries at the minute, but you can't help but be proud and pleased that the lads, you know, the next person in line's come in and took the performance on, and I thought there was a real good feel around the group on Tuesday in the dressing room, and we must continue to keep building it.
You mentioned the injuries. Obviously, the people who've stepped up have done really well. How do you feel about people like Josh Grant?
Yeah, look, you know, we've been keen to give Josh all the time we can to get over the setbacks he was having, and you know, I know there's been a lot of conjecture about whether we should keep him on and etc. But you know, we've seen him every day. Not only that, you see when he hasn't been ready to play, the work he's done to try and get ready, and the setback that he's had to suffer, and the character and resilience he's had to show. So, you know, Josh is one of the few day oneers left, and for him to captain the club on Tuesday night and play as well as he did and get a clean sheet, and obviously for us to score the 3 goals, you know, as a manager, you know, you're charting the whole course of it and every decision that's had to be made, and you know, that is a huge... It's probably the happiest I've been to see a player do well, and Maka get a goal, by the way, because I know how hard that lad's worked, and he is a day one, although he left us for the League Two season to go to Wimbledon, and you know, I think you get rewarded for doing the right thing habitually in life, and being proper at every junction, and I do get, you know, we're in one of the few jobs where lots of people are experts at what we do, and you know, everyone's got a different opinion on how you should do things. But I think when you look at the progress the football club's made, and in that spell of you know Josh Grant's captaincy, for me, you know, is huge, because that's not, look, we're coming into the football club, everyone here is not good enough because the club's in a tough spot, and we're going to bring in all these players. No, that's turning some people's careers around that are inherited. And I think, you know, Josh is, as I say, a fantastic player, a fantastic person, and it's great now that, you know, the fans are getting to see that on a consistent basis. He's managed, and you know, must touch wood on it, to play as many minutes as he's played in a long period. And you know, ideally, you know, we'd get a bit of separation between games, but you know, after the game Saturday, it looks now like the Exeter game's going to go, so we'll get a bit of an opportunity to hopefully get a few bodies back off our injury list, but also get a bit of rest and recuperation into, you know, players who are spiked in terms of minutes. And it's not just Josh in that, it's obviously, you know, Chris Martin, you have to factor in, you know, he's come from the beach pretty much to play a massively influential role in the game on Tuesday night. And it's the first time in my career that I've had a centre forward that can play that way. You know, I never had one at Fleetwood, albeit Paddy Madden, Ched were really good players, and I haven't had one here since. Somebody who gives you that platform, and you could see, you know, with the greatest respect to lots of players in this division, you could see the class that Chris had, and I think everyone who's in the stadium Tuesday night could see just what a difference it has, and there's, you know, it's no coincidence he's been successful at a higher level and scored the goals he's had. But what people maybe miss is his all-round game. I thought he was exceptional on Tuesday night, considering, you know, the lead-in he's had to that performance.
Sound almost in love with Chris Martin there. Is he going to play on Saturday?
I'll see how his body is. He's a bit stiff this morning, the big fella. But look, we'll monitor that. You know, Oxford want to play as well, so you know, we'll make a strategic plan for them. I'm not going to give you that on this interview, but you know, I was so pleased with the whole team performance Tuesday. You know, and Port Vale made it difficult for us. They were sixth in the table, I think, before the game. You know, Barton, as I said to you, is in the build-up, a blip in the Barnsley on the opening day. I think they've been a really honest, really solid team. And, you know, for 20 minutes of that game, they came and pressed us full court, and it made it really difficult for us, and we had to defend properly, and you know, I think once we established our way of beating their press, we managed to score. It was then compounded for them by the lad picking up the second yellow, which no doubt he'll learn from. And then we get the goal just before half time, which is pretty much a death blow for them. I know Andy made an adjustment, 4 subs on at half time and having another go. And honestly, we could have gone through the gears there, but we're in a 3-game week. The squad's quite stretched, and our directive at half time was just don't let these get the ball back. It was lovely to get the 3rd goal, especially for JB at that end. But we've done that with relative ease in the second half. We haven't really overextended ourselves, so it's as comfortable as a home victory as we're likely to get. So you have to be pleased, and that sets us up for a really tough match at Oxford on Saturday.
Yeah, on to Oxford now. They're flying high. It probably isn't a bigger game in the league right now, is there?
I don't know. I haven't had a look at the fixtures. There'll be lots of teams who will think they're the biggest fixture. It doesn't really bother me that. They've always been a good team, Oxford, and a good football club, and have hit the bar lots of times about getting out this division. Carl Robinson's tenure there. Always a good footballing side, played some great stuff, really good to watch. Always sold players because they were doing so well. I think they've got a good infrastructure in the club. 3 sides of the stadium are exceptional. If they could get the lid on the other end, maybe they'll speak to our club about that, because our stadium's looking a bit better that way. And I've been and trained at the training ground, because I've known Carl, and we've lent it a few times if we've needed to train in that area, and it's a superb training ground. So they're a really progressive club. I think last year, don't forget, we track all the metrics. So I know we beat them twice last year, but they really underperformed on the points tally compared to what the data was suggesting. So, that suggests there wasn't maybe the right ecosystem, but it certainly wasn't for lack of quality in their playing group. And I think from their perspective, thankfully, they stayed in the division, but it was touch and go for them for a period. And it doesn't surprise me this year to see them, have a completely different season, because, for 4 or 5 years before last year, they were really consistent, playoff chasing team, playoff thinking team. Last year looks like a bit of a blip, and I don't know what circumstances are going on, but they've removed the manager, so it says all wasn't well in the camp. And I think Liam's done a fantastic job since he come in, not only keeping them up, but obviously building on that this season. And Saturday will be a really, really tough game for us. But again, if we're serious, and I think we are, and we think we can mix it with the top teams in this division, which I think in the opening 10 games we've shown we can, then Saturday's a fantastic test for us, and a great benchmark to see if we can keep pace with the kind of high-flying teams in the division.